Hello everyone and welcome to the Fix Lab, where today I'm going to teach you guys about a disc bulge and then what you can do to help reverse and help this on your own. So the first thing we're going to talk about is what is a disc bulge, and I want to clear up some misconceptions on that, and then we'll walk through exactly what happens before I show you how to reverse it so you can help it on your own. So what I drew on over here is kind of the picture of a disc. So what I want you to think about is imagine a jelly donut that we cut in half. So the very inside part is the jelly, then here would be more of the donut itself. And what makes up that donut portion are actually these concentric rings. So the reason I bring this up is just so we all get on the same page as far as what is a disc bulge. Because there's 4 stages where this happens. Step 1, if this is our normal disc, the jelly on the inside is not impacted at all. But now you take a little more compression and we develop what we call a disc bulge, our step 1. So that would be me drawing a little bit more of this jelly. It's starting to get pushed towards one area. But it has not affected those concentric rings at all. So that's our bulge. It's just started to move a little bit. The next part is what we call a protrusion. So the inner part, the jelly, has started to impact the other part of the donut. So now this is actually pushing and deforming some of those walls. But it hasn't broken through any of them, it's just pushing. So we just went through step 1 and step 2. That's what we're going to be talking about today, of what you can actually help. Step 3 and step 4 of that disc bulge, number 3 is that we've actually broken through some of those walls. So we've pushed through those outer walls. That jelly would be exposed on the outside. Step 4, what we call sequestration, is now almost all of that fluid is being pushed outside. So that's going to go right onto your spinal cord, onto your spinal nerves. That's going to be the worst pain you've ever felt. It's going to feel like fire. It's going to be directly on the nerve. That's not what we're really talking about today. That is very rare. Usually that type of injury happens with extreme load or a very severe accident. So we're just talking about step 1 or step 2, now that we're kind of on the same page of what is that disc bulge. So what happens? Number 1, we get some compression. So here, number 1, I have some compression coming down. Something, and these are the bones in the spine, this is where that disc would sit right in between that little shock absorber. This was our top-down view. Now we're looking from the side. So viewing the body from the side. Actually looking at it from the back. So from back to front. So that little disc, now it's going to get compressed. That's going to force that material to equally expand a little bit. Okay? Number 2, what's going to happen over here is that disc is going to get forced to one side. So in our example, we'll go to the right. That disc, here's left, here's right, it's going to get compressed and then forced to one side because there's nowhere to go back there. Our spinal cord's directly in the back, so it has to go left or right. That disc is going to get forced out to the right side. So what happens over here, number 3, and we put a little face on him so you can see he's facing forward. Now this last one, we're looking from the side. That disc gets forced backwards. So 3 vectors there that we have to deal with. In the compression, that disc is evenly getting compressed down. Then it's moving to the right, and then it's moving back. So we're going to go through 3 exercises to decompress our spine, move the disc from the right to the left, and then move it from the back to the front so we can get you functioning like you were before. So join me on the strength floor. All right, now that everyone understands what a disc problem is, I'm going to show you guys how to fix it. So the very first exercise we're going to do is called the pelvic tilt. This is how we alleviate that compression and create some space for that disc. So to do this, you're going to lie on your back. I should have a little bit of space underneath my low back naturally. I'm going to pull my belly button into my spine and rock my hips backwards, flattens out that space, and then I'll go opposite. Create space, get rid of space. You're going to cycle through that exercise for a set of 30 reps. So compress, decompress. When you compress that disc, it forces out irritation. When you decompress, that allows it to take in hydration and nutrients. That's important to help repair that disc, okay? but it's creating space so it's not so compressed. The next exercise, I want you guys to perform standing, but so that I can show you, since I'm recording by myself, you're gonna imagine. So if I was standing up, I'm gonna have the wall over here. In our example in the lab, we had that disc going to the right-hand side. So if I'm hurt to the right, I'm gonna put my arm next to the wall and drop my hips to that side and bring them back. Drop them towards the wall, bring them back. So when you're doing this standing, you're gonna offset your feet a little bit. So if here's the wall, I would be like this. So I'm leaning in, I'm gonna drop my hips towards it, bring them back. That's gonna open up the disc on that side. So my disc has already gone to the right. We're gonna open up that right-hand side and then come back. So when we lean the other way, we're gonna open up the left-hand side and allow some space for that disc to push back from the right over to that left-hand side. So number one, we created the decompression. Number two, we're moving it right to left. So now number three, we're gonna go face down with my hands right here, and I'm gonna push into the ground to extend and bring myself all the way back. So from here, push. And I'm just gonna go back as far as it's comfortable to start. Each time, I'll try to go a little bit further. But for any of these exercises, you're working within that comfortable range, and you're just looking to gain a little bit more each time. But by gently moving that vertebrae, you're gonna reposition that disc to where it should be. So use this exercise at home if you injure your disc. The first thing to do is stop the exercise, get down, gently do those pelvic tilts, and then slowly work yourself through the other ones. You want to do this in the correct order every time. So you have to do your pelvic tilt first, create space. Then on the side, your side bridge, your side bend, that way you're opening it up, move it right to left. And then last, go into your extension so you can move that disc from the back to the front. Use this at home and use these pelvic tilts every single morning to make sure you don't injure your disc to begin with. I hope you guys have a great day.